there, it's Polly here with Strawberry Wine. Haha. Just want to talk to you about a game called Tusk. Tusk is a riot. Tusk is a miniatures game about hunting in the prehistoric period. So this is kind of cavemen versus mammoths. And it's a short, sweet little game. You can get it for about $1 or $2 on Wargames Vault. But it's really entertaining. It's very, very, very well done. And you can splice it in with other kind of prehistoric games if you want. And it can be like it can be sort of the hunting gathering section of a campaign. But it's great stuff. So at its essence, a side has a set number of points which you use to create your hunting party. Now, that hunting party, you can have kind of non-combatant sorts. You can have hunters armed with spears. You can have hunters armed with missile weapons like slings and bows. You could have, they call it Og the Hero, a hero character who's a bigger butcher caveman. And you can have hunting dogs. Hunting dogs, very valuable. Now, they've got a series of different scenarios in here, but your terrain is actually really important in this. Escarpments and cliff edges are important. Boggy ground is important. And brush and grass and so on, stuff that can be set on fire is important. There are different animals in this. Mammoths are obviously big or value prey, but there are also like bison and all these sorts of things. You can get rhinos and all kinds of cool stuff there. These things are statted up. Some animals are more aggressive than others. Some are butcher than others. And there are also predators which you can have lurking about. But the tactics come in. Essentially, the players are playing hunting groups. There is an umpire who can administrate the prey and just animals, but they can also just be run on automatic. You don't need an umpire to do that at all. Because this is the little genius of the game. There's kind of like a little sort of AI that the animals run off. So, say you have mammoths and so on, there are a series of reaction charts that they do. These animals have a series of just default operands that they do. They tend to graze. If it's a grazing creature, it will tend to move slowly forward and graze, and every now and then it will deviate off path and graze. If human beings are seen in line of sight outside of about 12 centimeters or thereabouts, you roll on a reaction chart and these animals may begin to react to you. There's a chart that you roll on if you've come within 12 centimeters. So if you come in proximity to them, there's another series of reactions. Now, depending on the animal, they could come at you. They could charge straight at you. They could kind of take on an aggressive posture or standing there, shielding each other. They could move threateningly towards you, but they're not doing an out-and-out attack. They could move away from you. They could flee away from you, depending on what they are. Tactics. You can fire missile weapons at them. You can chuck spears, but spears are usually best kept for melee. You can fire missile weapons at them. Again, firing missile weapons, you roll. There is a chance, a very slim chance, that the animal will be killed. For the big animals, no chance. But it's mostly there to provoke a reaction. And that reaction might be they'll flee away from you or they'll get angry and charge, depending on what animal you're dealing with. If it becomes furious, it will charge at you at the nearest human, or if it's very angry, it charges at the nearest human or dog. And it will ignore terrain. So this is where you try and coax these things into going over cliffs or going into marsh or mire and getting stuck, where you can then try taking them out from a distance without any threat to you. So dogs can be really useful for that because humans move about 5 centimeters a turn. A mammoth goes about 8, so a mammoth can basically roll straight over the top of you. So can a rhino. The rhinos are really aggressive, by the way. But a dog moves 15. It moves like lightning. So, hunting tactics. Try and set yourself up with marsh or a precipice or something. Get a couple of dogs ahead of the humans. Have some of the humans who've got arrows or something fire at a mammoth or something trying to enrage it. Use the dog to keep it in play. It comes after the dog. The dog will flee and move around marshy ground, but you try and get the mammoth to go straight towards the dog and into the marsh. These sorts of things. The other thing you can do is you can set fires. If areas are flammable, if it's scrub or long grass, you can have humans sit there and make fire. There's a chance if they sit there for a turn that they make fire. And the fires you roll, they spread. They tend to spread downwind. They can spread out wider. It's not as likely, but they can spread downwind. They'll keep burning, but there's a chance for sections to go out as well. But animals have to roll a reaction to fire as well. So you can use fire, and they won't go into fire. So you can use fire to try and protect some of your guys. If you think the animals might go goony-goo-hoo on you, you can use fire to try and channel animals into areas. You can use fire to try and drive animals into things. So it's a good hunting tactics game. They have the silly options. So if you want to play a game where there are brontosauruses and cavemen, you can. They've got all the stats for that. That's all statted up there. There's scenarios that are competitive scenarios, where you have different groups who are competing to see who can get the most number of kills and so on. You don't attack the other tribes because this is, cooperative but competitive. The old clan chieftain is dead. Whoever's group gets the most kills is obviously going to be the worthiest one to lead the tribe. So you do that sort of thing. Or you can have groups actually being combative and competitive. You're probably going to spend time trying to kill and stab each other and then be completely turned two-dimensional by a whole bunch of woolly rhinos. So maybe don't do that. They've got an extra add-on too if you want to do sort of Victorian science fiction where people have travelled back in time to go and hunt mammoths or hunt dinosaurs. They've got all that in. If you want to hunt brontosauruses with your Martini Henry, or if you're trying to do a space 1889 sort of thing and you are off there hunting on Venus, you're hunting the dinosaurs on Venus, they've got that in there. All the game is done running off D6s. There are charts, really one page of charts to look at, which is the reaction charts for how these things react. There's a list of the different things it can react to, like human at long range, human at short range, fire, being attacked by missiles, etc. Cross-reference with the animal on a dice roll. And the animals have definite personalities. This game is, it's simple, it's cheap. You'll only need like half a dozen sort of caveman-y figures and dogs and so on. There's some great ranges. For some reason, I really got into researching caveman kind of miniatures and so on, because it's just kind of, it's an untapped but very, very good fun period. And they actually paint it up really well. Like if you go out there and you do a whole kind of clan of the cave bear and some of them, so they've got like actual faces, or if you look at some really cool native tattoo and war paint styles out there, you can paint your cavemen up, and they look actually quite zesty. And there's something about putting a 25mm mammoth on the table that's just so satisfying. And they're great fun to paint. So, but you'll only need a few of these. But it's a surprisingly nuanced game. Trying to tease things on with dogs and trying to send the boys in with slings and arrows to try and essentially sting things into action. But you've got to have the spear guys to back them up just in case things turn nasty. So short, simple, really cheap, but surprisingly challenging. It really is. It's a nice, tight, brief witty little piece of game design. Very well done. And as I said, you can attach it to other games you might be doing as kind of the hunting and kind of campaign end of a bigger game of sort of tribes and settlements that you might be doing. So you can graft this onto the side of games like Tribes and so on, which I reviewed earlier, and sort of make a whole campaign environment out of it. So yeah, lovely, lovely. Anyway, really, really, really worth taking a look at. It gives you a good game, it gives you a challenging game, a quick game. Also a pretty good one for kids and young players, because there's not a ton of rules to learn, but there's a lot of thinking to be done. So anyway, do take a look at it. I do think it's worthwhile. It's really cheap up there on Wargames Vault. So anyway, if you enjoy the reviews, by all means, find me on Patreon. Hit like and subscribe. Tell people about the channel. I'll keep trying to be a voice for the cool indie games out there. The idea behind the channel, of course, is to try and uncover some of these cool little gems that people might have missed and let you know about them. Anyway, cheers everyone. Keep gaming. I hope the love of games stays with you always. Cheers. Bye.